Hello everyone in Happy Time Zones, it's your bird, Haven the Raven, and welcome back to Elden Ring Magic Glintblade only. That is what I have... Yes, okay, I remembered to change the title. So we're facing Radon today. I don't know if I'm going to beat him, but I'm certainly going to try. Let us go back to the Grace because I hit the wrong button, and then try this again. My gosh. Please hold. Uh-oh. Oh, hello, Jake Shuffle. How you doing today? And I certainly intend to. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I was dodging. That should not have caught me. But I should be able to beat him just based off of sheer numbers. You're not jealous that I'm on this fight? I mean, fair. Okay, considering that I can only use this spell right here, I've made it pretty damn far because of the DLC bosses, the only major ones I have left are Radon, Midra, and Bale. Yeah, Magic Glintblade is kind of a menace of a spell. Hold on a second. I forgot something. Something that I'm going to really want for Phase 2. Where is it? I think I passed it, actually. I know I have it in here somewhere. There it is. So far today's been pretty normal. Damn. Buddy, don't you think that's a little overkill? Well, I suppose you're not really thinking right now. I made it to Phase 2 last week. Uh-oh. Why did you do that twice? messed up. It's not like this is a bad fight. At least not in the first phase. I'm just bad. Radon? What? My guy, what? Why are you... I think I'm gonna have to restart this fight. Radon said you come to me, that's what that was. I clicked the dodge button to get me out of my animation quicker. Because I had some downtime. I think that's what got me there. Uh-oh. That was risky, but it was worth it. Okay. Back off, back off. What? That should not have... I mean, I know numbers-wise that this should be possible. I don't think... I messed up. I'll be honest, I low estimated my own numbers when I did the calculations. but not by much. What I did when I did my calculations was I didn't add to my damage. I certainly added or took it into account with his health. Just how much damage to the 10th or to the 10s and 1s. The 1000s and 100s I added into the calculations on my part, but that essentially means that the calculations I did were technically low estimates. And even with that low estimate, again, barring weird situations where I just wind up unable to hit him at all, which that does happen sometimes. And barring... Okay. Oh, whoops. Uh-oh. Serious reductions in my damage for phase 2, I should be able to do this. Nice try, Mikola. Uh-oh. Okay, so that's not a huge damage reduction if it is at all. Or not a huge reduction in my damage if it is at all. I think it was like 4 points. Not enough to mess with my estimates. So yeah, numbers-wise I can beat Radon. Oh dear. Now it's just a matter of skill, which I have none of. Oh, come on. He did that way too early. Just kill me. I messed up way too much. The best window for me to pop the physic is when he, in phase 1, does that meteor attack. Oh, this again? Come on, Radon. Just kill me. So as long as I don't miss a bunch of shots, I should be able to kill Radahn. Uh-oh. Of course, that works too. Would you just... Thank you. Is that enough to bring him to phase 2? Yes, okay. Attempting to charge here is not a good idea. Yeah, no way. But yeah, I still have 3 flasks, so I might not... I'll definitely have to use at least one of them. But provided I don't miss a ton, this spread of flasks should be good. And I'm not even managing to use all of my health flasks, so that's kind of a moot point. I mean, thanks, but what do you think I've been doing? Yeah, I'm not even gonna refute you on that one. Just finish your combo already, would you? I'd be dead if I didn't. Should have jumped. How did I dodge that? Well, I found a new move, or at least one I didn't remember he had. That was definitely my best attempt, though. And charged attacks definitely are not going to work for phase 2. I can barely get off the regular ones. Not good. Thought I was out of range. Haha, I outpaced it this time. I was doing so well too, and then I got caught by like 3 attacks at once. Oh, come on. Yeah, just kill me. If he opens up with that attack instead of the walking forward and then somersault, I've missed enough casts that I'm not really comfortable. Especially if he decides to spam it. Uh-oh. Oh dear. Oh dear. Really? Damn, I've already been at this for almost a half hour. I genuinely don't know what happened there. Yeah. Why did you do that twice? Since when does that have a follow-up? What if I do this? Actually, I might try blocking. Most of the time, it's not a good idea, but... it might be worth it. It might actually be worth it. What's my... We'll see how much it blocks. just unblockable. Alright, come on. Okay, so the blocking is actually... Okay, so I might wind up using a combination of dodging and blocking. What do I have in my inventory that will allow me to upgrade my shield a bit? I'm a little hesitant to leave the Land of Shadow, but there isn't a blacksmith here. So let's sell all of the knives. Actually, that might be handy to have just out in the field. Or wait, what am I talking about? There's not really much field left. Strengthen. I need to sell more stuff. Okay. Or wait, there's nobody else left who really uses bleed. Not going to be fighting anything that uses frost or sleep. Actually, maybe I shouldn't have sold those. Whatever. Those I'd like to save. There we go. Let's just buy something real quick to get the runes out of my inventory. Now we see. Here's hoping my damage didn't wind up. It shouldn't have. Okay. I just have to learn how to block. The fact that this boss is forcing me to learn how to block is kind of crazy, actually. And then that happens. Because of course that happens. Actually... do I have anything that increases block efficiency? Actually, that might be handy. I don't have anything that does that. Okay. Blessed Dew and Blessed Blue. Let's start with Blessed Dew and see if that... because I've got a bit of damage to play around with here. That's actually a pretty decent... considering that I can't cast... okay, I might wind up changing my physic. Okay, just kill me, I want to try something. Well, yes, actually. I tried this on a whim, but let's look at... alright, considering how much I'm dodging and how few attack windows I actually have, that FP restoration that you're seeing in the works there, it's slow. It's very slow, but it might be worth it. Okay, let's... I'm trying to think here. It's one extra attack, but that essentially lets me go in with my physic active. Because I won't really be wasting much. And then if I get caught in close quarters, blocking is really effective against this boss. Aw. Couldn't get out in time. But yeah, this plan might work. Oh, come on, Radon. Don't do this now. He starts off with that. There's no point continuing the fight. Oh, come on, Radon. Why do you do this? Alright. Figured I'd just save myself a few seconds there. Thank you for actually... Oh. Of course, I have to be better about deciding what I'm going to block, because I don't have the best stamina. And this shield is not a great shield. Great shields are the ones that, really block the damage. Yeah, this one's medium. I'm trying to save my rune arcs. The problem is with gimmick runs. The turtle shield is better. For utility purposes. Because while forgot to use my physic. Not what I meant to... Since when do you have Blood Flame? Damn it. But I need that stamina regeneration. I can't afford to sacrifice a slot for that. So for this run specifically, I need the turtle shield. Or, well... I don't have the strength for a great shield, actually. Especially not that one. So while I'm actually tempted to use a great shield, I don't have the strength for one, and I need the stamina boost from this one. Back to the middle of the arena, if you don't mind. Did I just actually... Yep. Worst part is I know hit first phase. Phase 1 Radon, I like. Phase 2 Radon sucks. I forgot to... Wait, what? Okay, genuinely... Why does he only pull that out sometimes? It's harder to account for the blood flame attacks because they're so rare. Alright, now let's not forget to pop my physic this time. My guy, you broke your own rocks. He broke his own rocks on the wall. That's actually kind of funny. I forgot the physic again. Ah, I thought I was going to be able to get away from that. Oh boy. Even with... This should still be possible. I'm just not very good at this game. I had it queued up too! Can you stop opening with... I got caught in the wall there. I think the game's punishing me for no-hitting Radon that one time. Or for no-hitting the first phase. And I forgot the stupid physic again. What is wrong with me? Yep. And this is why chip damage is so important in these games. But there were a couple times where I only or in that, well, one that I noticed, but probably a couple times in that fight, where I survived solely due to the fact that I'd regenerated enough that I had like 1 HP left following the attack. So while a lot of people will say that passive health regeneration, not that good, unless you're playing really passively, it is insanely helpful in cases where otherwise you would get one shot. Or, well, 2 shot. And I forgot to pop it again. It's not like I don't have time while Radahn's doing Radahn things. I messed up. That was me. Oh, come on, I should have been safe. Why am I doing worse? Okay, you know what? Let's do a reset here. A mental reset. Go off and fight a boss I don't intend to win against right now. But just to get my mind off of Radahn's attack patterns. Once again, chip damage, or chip regen saved my life. Well, that happened. I could have sworn that I was hitting the button a few times. Oh well. Now we go back to our dawn and see if I can't keep my head a little clearer. Is that a weird strategy? Just when you find yourself stuck in a rut with a boss, go do something you don't even intend to win just to, like, reset your brain. Am I the only one that does that? Oh, come on, Radon. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. What I might end up doing, for the sake of actually getting this run... Oh! Thank you for the lurk, Jake Shuffle. So today is going to be, like, mostly, if not entirely, Radon. Why did I forget about my physic again? But what I might end up doing, if I'm not really seeing any progress whatsoever, is, go and beat, like, the rest of the game and all the other DLC bosses. And then come back to this guy for filler. Because I know he's possible, it's just a skill issue. And I have other runs I'd like to get to. I was hitting dodge. Ah, boy. It really does feel like how far I get into this fight is kind of random. I genuinely don't think this is a good boss. I forgot to pop my physic again. Well, got some time while Radon's doing Radon things. And something I've noticed I have a bad habit of doing is, oh dear. Sneaking when I mean to disengage. Oh, come on, I should have had enough time to dodge. Unfortunate. Alright. Now, Avon, remember the damn physic! Oh, come on, Radon! I was out of whatever. What was that? Oh boy. This guy. I forgot my physic again. Why am I so bad at remembering to drink the physic? You know what? Oh, damn it. I was trying to run away. Because I thought that they were going to do the nuke. Because they always do the nuke. But apparently they don't always do the nuke. Thank you for finally starting off with something sensible. Oh boy. I am really bad at this boss. Of course, Phase 2 is not well designed, but I'm really bad at this boss. Oh, come on, Radon. I will admit, though, that I'm doing consistently better when using this strategy as opposed to the other one. And here I thought going behind you stopped that chain of events. Uh-oh. I thought you were gonna do that. That's what I thought he was gonna do. Another thing I might wind up doing is going and farming so I can get more stamina. Because I think if you were intending to block in this game, by this point you're supposed to have like 40 or 50. Of course, that would be off-stream. I forgot to course I forgot. Oh, Radon doing Radon things. I was hitting dodge. Uh-oh. Ugh. Perhaps I should have gone for the heal before the, focus regeneration. Okay, let's remember to use it this time. Because I am evidently very bad at that. Of course, it wouldn't have mattered either way. Radon's doing Radon things. I hit dodge. Why did you not dodge? Okay, that's interesting to note. My fault, my fault. Okay, that was just Radon missing. Which I'll take that. Thank you, phase transition. Didn't get out in time. You know, at this point, I kind of wish that he'd just start in phase 2. Because I need to relearn everything for phase 2. On the bright side, I no-hit that. Or, well, the first phase, so I got to keep my... physic effect for phase 2. Nothing I can do about that one. Once I got hit, there's a... Radahn has way too many combos where if you get hit, you're just dead. And I don't have the stamina bar to block everything all the time. So I wind up having to figure out what is and what isn't a good time to block. Radahn. Come on, buddy. You know what, just kill me. Because if you start off with 3 of those AoEs instead of the somersault thing, then I just wind up wasting way too many casts. Oh boy. I really need to get around to making the animated emotes. This is the perfect one for a flipped bird. Well, perfect boss, for one. Uh-oh. I'm already not doing so well. Maybe if I tried to drink there, but there's no guarantee that I wouldn't have been caught. I would have been caught mid-animation. There was, like, no way for me to get out of that. Once I got caught by that gravity thing, I would have been caught mid-animation had I tried to drink. I mean, I guess I can try a rune arc. I don't want to try this too many times, though, because I get the feeling I'm going to need them for Elden Beast. Radon, come on! Knew it. shoot. I'm out of my regen. Maybe I should pop the regen closer to phase 2, or at phase 2. It means giving up on a bit of damage, but there's no guarantee I have a heal window at all in phase 2. Come on. Uh-oh. Well, at least that's less damage than it did initially. Damn it. I hate this boss. I genuinely hate this boss. Let's go do a brain reset at Bale. I believe I've said this before. Oh dear. But there's a few different things that make me consider a boss bad. Firstly, does it fit within the lore of the game it's in? Uh-oh. For example, if you've got a game about the fair folk, and suddenly you've got, say, an angel come in, that makes no sense. Unless there was, like, pre-established in the lore that angels existed. Oh. The second is if it introduces a new mechanic as a late game boss. Early to mid game and you introduce a new mechanic is fine. But if you introduce, say, a new mechanic on, say, like the final boss or something like that, that's... nobody's gonna have time to really... oh dear. React to that. And that's not to say that a final boss should be easy, far from it. If a final boss is easy, then it has to be cinematic in some regard. Oh, whoops. I got caught in a wall. And the final thing, and the reason I consider Radon specifically to be a bad boss, is if it trivializes or makes useless a core mechanic of the game. Gimmick bosses are fine over here and there, but those should be... I count those more as puzzles than I do bosses. Radon's entire moveset is specifically designed to make dodging next to useless in the second phase. Whoops. Too late on that one. So, first phase with Radon, good. Second phase Radon, for the whole trivializing of a core mechanic thing, bad. Whoops. I lost this one. I'm still gonna try, but I lost this one. Uh-oh. Let's just block that. I'm dead. He has a lot of attacks from which there's no recovery if you're dodging. So yeah, if it doesn't fit with the established lore, if it introduces a new mechanic as a late game boss, and if it trivializes a core mechanic, those are the three criteria with which I consider a boss terrible. Well, bad. It's bad if it doesn't meet one of these. It's really bad if it's bad if it meets one of those criteria. It's really bad if it meets two of these criteria, and it's horrible if it meets all three. I thought I had some distance there. You know what? If you want to just loop yourself, I'm perfectly fine with that. Aw. He broke the loop. Come on, just let me drink. That attack, the way I've avoided the brunt of the damage the few times I have, I'm pretty sure you can avoid most of the damage if you dodge to the side, specifically the left, and then block. Uh-oh. Okay, seriously, what's the cue for that? What makes you decide that you're gonna pull out the blood flame? That's a mechanic. Didn't have time to dodge. Oh boy. Something I hadn't even thought of until now. The numbers say that damage-wise it's possible. However, it is also quite possible that due to the delayed nature of Magic Glintblade, winning this might be entirely RNG-based. Literally only just thought of that. So, the delayed nature of Magic Glintblade is both a strength and a weakness. On the one hand, enemies are more likely to dodge on cast than on effect. So that means that for more stationary enemies, and even for some of the more flighty ones, it's still possible to hit them. However, something I've noticed with Radahn, sometimes the Glintblade will just go straight through his cloak and not hit him. Or one of his animations will, at the last second, just barely move his hitbox out of the hitbox for Magic Glintblade. It's a thing that you kind of have to watch out for when you've got gimmick runs like this, is weird hitbox shenanigans, because you can't exactly change the way things are going. However, whether I hit Radahn or not, especially in the second phase, appears to depend on what animation he transitions to after a break in his attack streams. I could be wrong about that, but it's worth noting nonetheless. Radahn's doing Radahn things again. Like that. That, by all accounts, should have hit him. But because of what attack he was doing at the time, it didn't. Whoa! Okay. And with a boss that's as aggressive as Radahn, I can't really afford to pick certain windows and watch what animation it looks like he's about to transition to. Because there's a high enough chance that I'm going to need those as dodge windows. Or block windows. that one was a fault on my part. Uh-oh. Come on, I should have cast. Again, it should be possible even just based on the numbers. And even if it wasn't based on the numbers, this gives me a little bit of leeway. But I might just... I legitimately might decide it's not worth it. What? Input delay? All right. Moving on. Radon doing Radon things. He goes up in the air, I'm pretty much guaranteed not to hit him. mistimed that. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Not good, not good. I needed to unblock, otherwise I wouldn't have. Okay, my brain's going like a million miles a minute. I think I'm actually going to end for today before my mood really takes a turn for the worse. I'm going to do some farming, though, just because I do want to beat him. He sucks as a boss, but I do want to beat him. These are the 3 stats that I'm probably going to be focusing on, though I might pop a few points into dexterity, too, to see if I can't get a damage boost. Next week's Elden Ring stream will probably also be pretty much entirely Radahn. If I can't beat him then, I'll say it's not worth it. And I'll go and do whatever else is left in the game that I can. However, if I do wind up doing that, I will also be attempting Radahn in at least a few times a week in my free time. Sooner or later, I will get him, and I'll make sure that I'm recording each individual attempt. If I do that, and if I do wind up deciding that that's the route I want to take for defeating Radahn, then I'll wind up making an announcement on it, about it and posting that on YouTube. Because I do have other things. I actually have my next, 4 or 5 runs planned out. So, even though I want to beat Radahn, if I want to get to those runs, which I probably will wind up wanting to get to those runs, I need to be, a little cruel with myself as far as timetables go. The next run I have planned for Wednesday is going to be the Dark Souls 1 run that I was talking about with Casual Coward. The Mask of the Child run, and that might also wind up transitioning into a knife-only run, because... Oh, pardon. Knives with the Mask of the Child sounds like actually a pretty good combination, just on this spammy nature of knives. So I do want to get to that. And if I spend forever on Elden Ring, then I'm just not going to be able to. We'll talk about what I have planned for the runs on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, Friday when I actually get close to beating my current runs for those days. So yeah, I'm going to call it here. If you're interested in anything I've done up until this point, please check out my YouTube channel. I try to upload stuff same day, and I do group my runs by playlist, which makes it easier to find them. I am also going to start announcing things on YouTube, provided I have something worth announcing. If you've made it this far and are curious to see where I go from here, why not drop a follow? It takes but one button press, and you can always change your mind if you decide my content isn't for you. So tomorrow and Friday, it's back to Darksiders 3. I'm going to be kicking that off with the Stasis Void, and we'll see where I go from there. Monday, Tuesday, it's back to Hollow Knight. I genuinely don't know what I'm doing Monday and Tuesday. I have no idea where I'm supposed to be going. I've been spoiled on a lot regarding Hollow Knight, but not where to go next. Probably just some exploration. Wednesday, I'll be attempting Radahn again, and if I can't beat him, I'll move on to some other stuff. One moment. Been a while since I've raided Jack, so let's go raid Jack. He's playing Oblivion Remastered. Let's see how well he's doing with that. That said, happy time zones, everyone. And I hope you all have an excellent day.